How is everybody doing today? Sorry, if I was on time, it'd be a weird day, right? My God, my bad, guys. Got some flooding going on in my basement here, so got a contractor coming out looking at this. I don't know what's going on. Hopefully, it'll be a lot of fun. I don't want to fix it myself. I'm too lazy on this one. But how's everyone doing today? A lot of fun stuff to get into here. We're gonna talk about AMC's price action today, of course. We'll talk about, God, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. But I want to show everybody something here at the end, too, we'll get into it later. But I'm going to let some people jump in quick. Yeah, everybody take a quick bong rip. Make sure everybody's ready. Feeling good, because you know we're showing nothing but corruption in this video here. But there's some good news here. AA's out there. Oh, man. A lot of fun going around with that, but still a lot of stupid choices here, I feel like. Gotta love scammers here. But first, let's get into AMC's price action. Let me shut my phone off. Alrighty. So let's talk about AMC's price action. A lot of people, and this is the one thing that, does suck about when a lot of people watch these guys, TAs, and, the same people that said, well, when we're at $7, I'm sorry, all my stuff shows we're going to 3 to 5. And then next thing you notice, all my stuff says we're going to 12, 13, 14. See, look at perfect. And then reality comes in and you go, well, where's max pain? And it's the same thing. And it's like, guys, you got to understand why they had to attack it this weekend. And we're going to get into all this stuff with Taylor Swift in a minute. But this is going to be the biggest box office weekend probably in a long time, because what a lot of people don't understand is all those pre-sale numbers on Taylor Swift, which we'll get into those numbers in a second here, and everything, those are all going to hit this weekend. It's all going to hit when the box office is released. So currently on Q4, those pre-sale numbers are not on the box office, but at the end of this week they will be. And when I show you guys how much it is, I mean, it's going to be insane how much money they're going to make this weekend. It easily could be a 400 million plus weekend added to the box office. So let's get into that real quick here. But one of the things before I get onto that is options. You guys, I say this all the time. Be careful with options. If you don't know what you're doing, you guys got to know they're gonna hit that max pain. They couldn't afford to have the best weekend, and probably since COVID, when we get into these numbers here. And on top of that, the price just skyrocketing, and having the risk of us maybe executing those call options. Because if they had both of those hitting at once, that could be something that could completely fuck them up. So, of course, they needed to do some shit, and on top of that, they needed to make a reason why they could drop the price, and of course, it's going to be the Aron thing. We'll get into that in a minute. But, like I said, guys, we're going to end. I wrote this right when I woke up. All right, so it looks like we're going to end at about $9.48. I haven't even looked at the price today. Let me look at it. We're at $9.53. $9.52. We're going to drop here in the next 17 minutes to about $9.48. $9.46 to about $9.49. We'll be in that. We'll finish it off right around there. They know what they're doing. They're going to hit this max pain number. They're going to do it. Like I said, guys, a lot of people, they'll see green. I mean, a lot of people were green right away this week. And then instead of, they'll hold it all the way through because they just keep on, well, it's going to keep going up to 12. It'll go up another $1. Guys, it's okay to always take profits. Profits are never bad. But like I said, watch. In the next 16 minutes, it'll be the battle of 950. Well, let's move on to the Taylor Swift news. And let's move on to some good stuff, actually, here. So, this came out on the 6th. Aron said this a day late. On the 6th, Taylor Swift broke 100 million in pre-sales. And I told you guys that by the time it happens, it will easily be over 125 million in pre-sales. Well, on top of that, one of the things that, made sense to me as well when if you read this tweet here, it broke over 100 million. Most people book the day before or the day of their theater visit. So if we started, opening day, it came out at 26 million. There's no reason if most people booked the day before that we couldn't get around that number yesterday, the day before that. So we easily could be at 140 million in pre-sales. Well, that should hit this. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but that should hit the moment the box office is released. So that should hit this weekend at 140 million. plus whatever she's going to make during this opening weekend. There's already projections out that she'll make 150, 200 million. Just imagine she has 200 million at the domestic box office. Then you add the 140, you're already at 340. So far, we're averaging 75 million a week. Add that. Suddenly, you have $405 million hitting the box office this weekend. That's massive. That's insane. You can't have that much hitting the box office in one weekend, along with the price skyrocketing, and risk all those, like I said, those call options being executed, and now you're becoming a very, very attractive stock to new investors. They can't risk more people. Sorry. A little cotton mouth after that bummer. So, I'm going to show you the projections on Taylor Swift now. And like I was telling everybody, this is bigger than what they thought it was going to be. And that's why they needed to put this article out on Aron, and why that... I mean, I don't usually use the C word. I think I have no problem swearing, but the C word, any racial stuff, none of that stuff needs to ever be said. The C word's an ugly word, and I had to say it to this girl because it's like, all right, I'm sick of these fucking reporters that back Jamie Dimon. Talk about, go over to Jpmorgan. They just got done settling for sex trafficking. Why would anyone go there? Oh my God, they're the greatest thing. What do you mean? They're the greatest thing. 13 of their executives on the logs were proven in this case. 13 visits to his island. Holy fuck. They need to be in prison. 13 visits? What the fuck are they doing? We all know. And that's why, like I said, and you're promoting them. And then you go over, and Aron might have sent some pictures, which if he did, like I said to Aron, dude, you have all these people that, I mean, we'll get into this stuff, and obviously there's FUD, they got to stretch everything, and that's one of the things media likes to do. They're going to say stuff, they're going to hope people don't read the filings, they're going to hope you don't read the court documents, and then they're going to say a couple things, a keyword here and there, and they're going to let the fire just take itself. Let the people that hate them create their narrative for us. Just get it out there. Now it's an excuse for us to be able to, once again, hit our max pain number. Oh, the sex scandal. The 70-year-old man sex scandal. Okay. We'll get into that in a second. But either way, like I said, Taylor Swift this weekend, like I said, we could easily have a $400 million if you add that to the box office. You're already at $145 million. Now, we're at $550 million at the end of this weekend. You still have Taylor Swift for 2 more weekends. You also have a couple movies coming out. What's that one? God dang it. It's with the Bears and stuff. Freddy's. Five Nights at Freddy's. That has a huge following. That's going to do very, very well. And they're releasing it right in Halloween. Perfect. Halloween weekend, all these like Saws, all these scary movies, they're going to suddenly have a little re-emergent. The Exorcist. Right now, The Exorcist, as you can see, is actually doing number 1 for the entire quarter so far. This should have another spike right at Halloween. You also have Taylor Swift. Like I said, we could easily have a $1 billion quarter, 1.1 billion. Everybody go to the box office. This is a key time right now. This is huge. You got to support Taylor Swift. We're going to get into how many people I've seen on Twitter today that went to that movie, or they went to an AMC theater and already have bought 5 of these merchandise, 2 shirts, they get posters, they got little batons, they got popcorn tins. I don't know what this other thing is. It looks like a popcorn tin, but I don't think it is. But either way, these people are coming out with 5, 6 different things of merchandise. And this is exactly what I said is going to happen with this stuff. You have all these moms that couldn't afford to go, hey, let me spend $1,300 on a ticket, and then I got to go get food, and then I got to do whatever the merchandise she's going to want, the kids are going to want up at the concert. They're going to want all these little things that I can't afford. So the next thing you notice, I'm spending $1,700. Well, what these moms go, thinking that way, you go, but what I can justify is going to a movie, buying $100 worth of all this merchandise and $100 worth of food. That way the kids got the maximum experience that I could possibly give them for that dollar, and they're happy as hell. They got everything they could have possibly wanted compared to going to that concert and not being able to afford the stuff that they would have wanted there. So that way, like I said, these moms are going to be able to justify spending all this money on merchandise. And if you go on Twitter right now, like I said, it's nothing but pictures of these people with 5 or 6 items, dude. It's crazy. They spent a lot of money on merchandise. Oops, sorry. Let me fix this shit. My bad, guys. I didn't know this was out of control there. Amateur hourring right now. So, like I said, we could easily have a $1 billion thing if you look over here as well. One of the best things about this too, this is from Cinemark. So when Cinemark was giving out their tickets, you could see AMC was on the very bottom of all the tickets. So every time Cinemark gave out a movie theater ticket, boom, advertisement. When the movie starts, like I said, it's going to show AMC right away. You have all of your competitors. Think about that. What business has their competitors that have to advertise their company? AMC is going to be all over everything on this. It's going to be all over Beyonce as well. I guarantee you, Megalopolis, he's sitting there waiting right now because he just wants to see how well we can handle something this big. Can we handle Taylor Swift? Can it be $1 billion? If it is, perfect. He now knows that he can go to us for distribution, which is all he wants. He does not want to partner with any of these studio productions because he's already paid for the entire film. He's already done it, shot it. He doesn't need them. He just needs a distributor. Like I said, this is all looking very, very good for AMC. And if you look over here as well, it's already, like I said, they already went over 100 million, and that was reported like 6 days ago, easily 140. But if you look down here, industry experts expect this film to land among Barbie and Super Mario Brothers, both would have grossed about 1.3 billion. So they're expecting, and then you saw that they also added extra dates. So they're basically going now all the way up until Beyonce. Sweet. This, like I said, this is going to be a massive thing. You got to think about it this way. Also, AMC is getting a piece of the pie from every single theater. So if this does $1 billion, if this does that, depending on these deals, I don't know if they were set amounts, if they were how much revenue they create, if it was off a per screen base. I mean, I'm not sure exactly how AMC did these deals. Nobody knows it. They haven't given that information out. They're never going to give that information out, what the terms were for these people. But the more people that show this 1.3 billion, AMC is going to get the biggest piece of the pie. You have a lot of people right now saying, I don't know if AMC is going to be profitable. I don't know how anybody can think that. I think we should easily be able to pass 3 billion. If Taylor Swift is as big as this thing and everybody thinks it's going to be now, add Beyonce after that, we only need to do about 1.4, 1.5 billion between all the other movies throughout the entire month. And on top of that, we're getting bigger revenue stream from distribution. And on top of that, you get distribution rights to the merchandise. So all those posters, all these cups, all this stuff that everyone else is selling, AMC is making money off that as well. So every time Cinematic, oh man, look, we're selling all these. Good, that's more money for us. Sell them away. Like I said, this is huge. Getting distribution, the amount of money AMC is going to make off distribution is fucking awesome. And if it even does $1 billion like I said, even if it does $1 billion, it even doesn't need to do 1.3, even $1 billion. That is insane. If Beyonce can do half of that, holy fuck. Now, if you look at the rest of the movies for the rest of this quarter, like I said, this quarter, AMC, this should be AMC in my eyes most profitable quarter we've had since COVID. I don't know how it can't be with these two things as well. You still got going on, you got The Creator, you got Dumb Money, you got Saw, Paw Patrol, you got The Exorcist killing it. Now you're going to have Taylor Swift, Five Nights at Freddy's. You're already at $150 million at the box office. Now, if you go down to November, you're still going to have Taylor Swift. You're going to have the Marvels. Now, if you look, they're already talking about the Marvels doing $75 million domestic right on opening weekend. This will be a $250 million, $300 million box office movie domestic here. You come on down, you got Trolls Band Together. This is going to be another kids movie that should do very, very well. You got The Hunger Games. This has a very big following. Like I said, you're still going to have Taylor Swift going. This Thanksgiving movie looked actually pretty good. American Fiction. You got a couple, good movies that should do 50, 75, 100 million here and there. Then you come down to December. And December to me is our best month in the entire quarter. You got Beyonce. You got Godzilla. You got, let's see here, where is it? You got Wonka. You got Aquaman. You got Ferrari. Like I said, December should be our best month. Even with, I know everyone's gonna be like, we only got a couple of weeks of this, but these superhero movies, this type of movie, easily in 2 weeks could do 200 million plus, 250 million plus. This could easily still do in this quarter a $500 million. That's what we want to see, like I said. And now you add Beyonce to this, and all these other ones in between. I mean, Chicken Run. I don't know what Chicken Runs do. I mean, I think isn't this? I think this is that claymation thing, right? Or the like clay animation chicken things. I mean, I think that could do pretty good. I mean, there's still some movies that it just takes one or two to surprise us. You remember when we all first started this, how good Godzilla did? We crushed Godzilla. We made sure it did very well. Like I said, we could easily do $3 billion this quarter with having distribution, which we haven't had before. I'm pretty jacked for this quarter. So, what are they doing? The only thing these fucking guys can do, and I want you guys to look at how fucking ridiculous this makes no sense. I want you guys to understand just how stupid this is. There's only one reason why they would be delaying this. You already did it with I don't know if you guys saw, but the actors strike. Talks got suspended. They're being just complete tool bags. You know, the classics. They need any excuse to try and go, well, now with the writer's strike being suspended, we can drop the price because it hurts all cinemas. Look. See, they're trying to hit us with all this crap. There's no reason. Look at these guys' salary. Look at these guys' salary in the last 5 years. David has $500 million. Ari's made $346. Mr. Reed Hastings, $209. Mr. Bob Inger, $195. Look at this. But you're telling me you guys can make that much money, but God forbid you can't give more than less than 2% of revenue. And everybody can say, well, these actors can cry, complain. But dude, in the end of the day, everybody deserves a raise, especially when your company is just flourishing. And that's the thing I fucking hate. People go, well, okay, if your company is just flourishing, why the fuck do you not deserve a raise just like they don't? You guys should be able to go, if your company's just profiting, and where guys are killing it, as workers, we should be able to go up and say, hey, we deserve a little more profit. Without us, you're not doing that. So I hate when people get mad at even actors, anybody that does whatever they do, if it makes them this much money and CEOs can make 500 fucking million, they can afford to give a little more money. Like I said, this shit's stupid. I showed you guys the percentage of CEO salary compared to other people's salary. It was like 10,000%. It was ridiculous. Everybody's salary, their salaries can keep going up in massive amounts. But God forbid, dude. But like I said, this is what they have to try to do now. They have to try and stop. Because if they don't stop this, you now have writers, you now have actors that are locked into deals for years. There's nothing else they can have. You now have everything back. Production, and you already saw this field, AMC, or the entertainment business, it's already going up by the billions. We're going to end this year at what? 9.6, 9.7 billion? Maybe 10 billion? It went up, what, that'll be another 2.5 billion that will go up from the year before. You're seeing the industry is coming back in full-fledged. If next year it keeps up at that rate, and you're talking 12 billion, dude, that's huge. These guys are fucked. AMC is going to be profitable. They should be very profitable all year next year. And on top of that, Dune 2 got moved into next year. That was one of the most anticipated movies of the year. That's a $500 million to $1 billion movie. That got moved into next year. On a year we didn't technically... Could you imagine if Dune 2 would have been in this quarter also? You would have smashed $3 billion. Easily. They can't afford that. They needed to pull their bullshit and move it back. But good, that means next year, that's a huge movie just waiting on top of it. Like I said, I'm excited to see what happens next year. Now, let's get into good old AA here. Everybody, we got to talk about the catfish. I'm like, nobody gives a shit to say about Apple CEO. We'll talk about Apple. We'll get into a whole bunch of stuff here, man. I want to get into Microsoft and the IRS here and all this other shit before we get into that too. But let's talk about this thing over here. So, AA, you guys, this, of course, they put it out now. I mean, this incident happened in March of 2022. So, over a year ago. And Adam Aron talked about how in July he was able to speak upon it. So obviously, it's like they've been just holding on it I feel like it was a shot in the dark. Fuck, AMC's on a giant path to recovery. Taylor Swift's going to be even bigger than we imagined. Like I said, I don't think they also thought these moms were going to come in there and buy every single thing off the shelf of merchandise. I can't even imagine how much food they're going to do from like I said, Taylor Swift. AMC's going to kill it, dude. Kill it. So they need to start throwing this out there. That's why I call that recorder a piece of shit, because it's like, okay, you want to throw this out here now. You had to throw it out here right before the biggest weekend probably in our theater's history. But yet the next day you're going to talk about how much you love Jamie Dimon. Oh my god, he's such a great, just a great businessman. Yeah, I know. Fucking pedophile who processes humans. Oh, he's a great man. Fucking reporters. Well, you're supposed to be the ones reporting on this shit, not me. But instead, you're over there just swallowing for Jamie. Tool beggars. But back to this stuff. So, AA, he ends up doing, he gets in a little scam, a little catfish thing here, a little blackmail stuff. We'll break it down here in a second. So, Murphy, please, baby. You don't want to play right now. He always has to interfere. Sorry, he's pushing my chair over. Like, pushed me a whole bunch. So I'm just saying, got me out of control here, Bear. All right, so whatever. Let's just break this down. So he got involved in a scam. So this lady, she ends up wanting $300,000. First of all, let's get into this. This lady ends up getting every single phone number for every one of the board members. All of them. Gets Adam Aron's phone number. And then she gets his son's phone numbers. Now, at this point, you got to sit there and go, okay, one, how the fuck should you get that unless somebody gave it to her? It seems like it's one of those, type of hit things. And then on top of that, they gave her some information on her pretending to be a person that Adam Aron used to know, and I think he dated. So basically, this girl knew it all, and it's like, how the hell do you get these guys' personal cell phones? And it's not like she did it to one. She did it to all of them. And his kids. So this chick was a complete scam artist here. If you guys go ahead and read about all this, I'll go ahead and put this in the thing here. This is just one. I could pull up the other filing. It's like 13 pages. A lot of people, they want to create the FUD on the minors and all this stuff. Well, this lady she got all this information from him pretending to be this other guy or a girl that he knew. And then a lot of people were talking about with the minor and stuff. Well, what she ended up doing was texting him from another thing. She ended up at no point saying she was a minor. I want that to be 100% clear. Adam Aron at no point thought this girl was a minor. She thought he was older than that, and she ended up using the picture of a 17-year-old model. When then, in return, said, I'm going to blackmail you using this as talking to an underage girl. When, like I said, throughout this whole thing, nobody knew it. There was no thing like, oh, Adam Aron, I'm an underage girl, and he's like, yeah. Now, getting into the pictures and shit. To me, dude, with how much shit goes on in the world, the corruption, this guy's 70 years old. If he's out there fucking throwing use better judgment. First of all, you are married. That's between you and your wife. I'm not gonna sit there and, do I think it's right? No. Would I ever do that? Fucking no. I would never send a girl pictures of shit while I'm dating or married or any of that shit. But that's how I was raised. And here's the thing. I don't know what any marriage is like. Maybe they have a fucking open marriage. They're 70. I don't fucking know. I'm not going to judge that shit. But Aron, you're 70. No one wants to see that shit. No one wants to see that shit. Don't be sending no pictures. They're alleging, some of this shit was doctored, this and that. He sent it to the older account, and then she tried to doctor it to the younger account to make it look like he was saying this to her, to this, to that. I mean, this scam artist, it wasn't like... So, I mean, I don't even know it was really sent to this girl. He might have sent these pictures to the older girl that he thought he was dating, and she copied and pasted it over to the new thing and forged the things, and that then tried to blackmail him with that. That's what was... I mean, there's so many... I don't know what the fucks. But that's basically the story. Either way, You're 70. If you guys believe it, and you really did it, what are you doing getting catfished at 70, bro? Again, no one wants to see that shit. Do I think this makes him unfit to be a CEO and we got to get him out of here? No. Do I think he's going to get resigned? No. Do I think he's going to get kicked out? No. Do I think there's going to be backlash? No. Maybe a little bit by women because nobody wants to support a guy who's cheating on his fucking wife. But again, I don't know their fucking situation. But he literally got scammed by a scam artist who tried to, in return, forge shit. So like I said, the stuff with the miner, it was literally way blown out by the people we call the fire starters. Let's throw it out there, say one key word, and let these guys go ahead and say, they were saying he's hanging out with minors. Okay. He's talking to minors. The 70-year-old Gramps is not talking to minors, dude. The 70-year-old Gramps, he's at that age where he's like Biden. Like, he's going to go home to a pudding cup, hang out. Dude, he ain't on these. Like I said, we'll see a little bit more, but this isn't anything that I think's like, oh my God, we need to revolt on this, dude. But like I said, if you're doing this shit, Adam, what the fuck? What kind of clown shit are you doing over here, dude? Like I said, you got catfished. End of story. Now let's get to something fucking that actually is a big deal and some complete fucking bullshit. And God, I hate fucking Jpmorgan. I hate fucking Jpmorgan. This is the person that this fucking reporter's sticking up for. Jpmorgan, we talked about CBDCs, and I told everybody CBDCs are getting such a bad rap. They're getting such a bad name. That everybody's, we're going to ban CBDCs. So what do? Okay, fine. We'll just make something else. We'll re-fucking brand it. And then we'll go ahead and it'll be a CBDC, but we'll just call it something different. And we'll call them fucking tokens. It's just tokens. We now have tokens on our fucking blockchain. Okay, well, I've already shown you guys with Chameleon technology, I alone, as a hacker, could go into your thing and edit your blockchain. So I know writers of blockchains because I've seen it in other crypto scams. Writers of blockchains can fucking change the nodes and they can change things and they can scam it. And now they have their own fucking blockchain with collateralized tokens. You can take collateral such as securities, cash, this, that, turn it into their fucking tokenized things, and now you can have instant settlements. They're talking about over-the-counter derivatives. I know you can't really see because it's fucking, but they're talking about over-the-counter derivatives, and guess who they're using them by? Hopefully, I'm not going to pay for paywalls. They can blow me. Look at this. It's used by fucking BlackRock in over-the-counter derivatives. Oh, yay. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. BlackRock and Jpmorgan are basically doing their own collateralized tokens on over-the-counter fucking derivatives. So this is where the bullshit starts. This is what I was afraid they were gonna do. This is where they're gonna fucking start hiding some fucking bodies, put it in the tokenized thing, and guess what? You're gonna be able to hide it because they're gonna own the fucking blockchain. And when people come in to check the blockchain, they'll fucking edit it. And then what they'll do is pay these small fucking fines because who cares? I fucking hate JP fucking Morgan. They basically, we're not going to do this. So they come out and say, these tokens are only for fucking institutions. What did I tell you was going to happen? Wholesale CBDCs. What the fuck? They're wholesale CBDCs rebranded. Wholesale CBDCs versus retail. They were gonna do this with CBDCs. They were gonna have special ones. Remember the word special ones? Just like if you want to talk about the COVID shots, they had special different COVID shots for them and special different ones for us. Well, they got special CBDCs for them, special CBDCs for us. Well, these special CBDCs, or these special tokens, only work with fucking their institutions like BlackRock. Crazy. So they're basically wholesale fucking CBDCs. What was the point of a wholesale CBDC?
was between transactions between institution to institution for instant clearance. Okay. Well, here we go. They issue their CBDC, it goes to institution, they can trade it, boom, pop it back, good to go. Same exact fucking thing. Rebranded. It's just rebranded. And that's why everybody, oh my God, they're closing these ESG funds. Who gives a fuck? They're just going to rebrand them into something new. That's all they ever do. Look at mortgage-backed securities. They made mortgage-backed securities into fucking student loans. They just rebranded it into your student loans. There's tranches in student loans, just like there's still in mortgage-backed securities. What the fuck? Anytime you can commit crime and get away with something and it works, you rebrand it into a different sector and you steal some fucking more. That's all they do. These guys are fucking trash and they're scums of the earth. And they're fucking... Jpmorgan is the goddamn biggest criminal organization in the world. In the world. They're the biggest cartel. They're the biggest money cartel. They're the biggest piles of shit known to humanity. How many people is 1 billion? How much does a person sell for? How much is a kid? How much is an adult? How many people? They processed over $1 billion worth of people. How much is that? Never let that go. They settled for $325 million, less than what they processed in payments. They processed $1 billion worth of people and only paid $325 million in fines. What? What is worse? What can you do that is worse in humanity? You're selling children to sex criminals. What is a worse thing? What is worse? Fuck Jpmorgan, dude. Now, I showed you guys with Nvidia the bullshit. All these fucking companies, they sit there and they cheat and they lie and they inflate their numbers. They buy shell companies. They transfer money to these shell companies through loans and through collateral in agreements. And then what happens? They then in return take that money and that collateral that these fucking sub companies got, their shell companies, and then they buy their own shit with it. And then they inflate their numbers. Nvidia had a shell company. They did contracts. They sent them over collaterals, millions, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. Then what they did is they took that in that shell company. Then they went over and they bought the living fuck out of their cards. Do you guys remember when the 4090s, the 4080s, you couldn't fucking get them. You could not buy them. They were sold off the shelves because Nvidia under their own sub company was buying their own cards, putting them in a shell company. Now they're saying demand's there. We got to keep the stock, or we got to keep the card prices high as fuck. And they're buying their own shit. And then in return, they're taking that sub company, shipping it back to Nvidia. Then Nvidia is actually selling those cards to other people. So now they're basically making double the revenue on their cards. What the fuck? That way they can keep the price up, keep their stock up, and as they're doing that, their CEO has been selling 42 million in shares. And if he gets caught insider trading, he does not care. He doesn't give a fuck. He'll pay 20 million in fines and keep 22 million and then get a severance package of another 20 million. Who fucking cares? This shit's insanity. So they're sitting there blowing up their numbers over at Nvidia. You got Coke doing supply chain financing. All of these giant companies, Frito-Lay's, all of them. Anybody that uses a distributor, what are they doing? They're doing supply chain financing. Instead of going to their distributor and paying these people every quarter the amount of money they should pay, let's say it's 40 million, 100 million, a billion. We learned from Coca-Cola, they added an additional $1 billion a quarter in revenue doing supply chain financing. So it's a big deal. They would go to a bank. A bank would then say, hey, let's open up a contract. Let's do some supply chain financing. This way, Coke, you don't have to pay them, okay? I'll pay them. You supply me with a contract. Keep that money on the side in a special account. in that special account, we will go ahead and you pay us a fee, but don't worry, we'll pay you back. You in that special account will get a good interest rate on that money you put in there. On your earnings, you can say that $1 billion is still there because you didn't give it out. It's no longer it's no longer out. It's still an asset. It's still in your control. So you can add $1 billion to your quarterly revenue. What the fuck? Fuck you, bank. What kind of bullshit is that? Now, what you have is people like Microsoft. Watch this scheme. I want you to understand this scheme. This is tax evasion. This is a felony crime. This is what they got Al Capone on. But by worse, Al Capone didn't steal billions. He didn't steal 30 billion. And I want you to understand something before I get into this. This didn't stop. This didn't stop in 2013. They kept going. The shell company's still there. It just now got prosecuted. It just now got fucking in trouble. So this went on for 9 more years after this. This went on for 9 more years after this. And if you add the rate that they were stealing at, you're talking 60 to 70 billion. In one company owing 60 to 70 billion in a Ponzi tax scheme. And I'm going to show you what they did. And if all of these companies are doing this, you're talking trillions and trillions of dollars. And I've been showing you guys with these shell companies, with Nvidia, this is how they get through this shit. This is how they bolster numbers. We know with the market makers and all these other fuckers, this is how they get out of their taxes. And it's caught over and over. And it's the biggest Ponzi bullshit you've ever seen. Microsoft ended up buying a shell company in Puerto Rico. Okay? They owned 85% of this shell company. So then what they ended up doing is they sold... Here, let's go down. We'll read it. I don't want to just tell you. Let's read it. I don't like to just say it and then everyone's like, well... And then I'm going to break it down what they're fine, because it's just as bad as an acceptance, waiver, and consent. But I want you guys... Hold on, where the fuck... Here you go. So what happens... They own 85%. They own 85. They own the whole company, basically. There's an 85-man factory. It's just an 85-man factory. I'm sorry, I got that mixed up. It's an 85-man factory. They sold them the priority rights to its most valuable possession, its intellectual properties. So basically, what this company did, all that this company did was burned Windows onto CDs. All this company did was burn Windows onto CDs. But since it owned this intellectual property, Microsoft was able to funnel them money as part of their branches. It was able to give them branches. So all this money, they were able to then not count that revenue over there. They were counting that revenue over here in Puerto Rico. Why? Because it literally it's just favorable tax deal. And then they literally went to Puerto Rico. They literally went to Puerto Rico and signed a deal with them to say, let us bring our money over here and funnel it here, and we'll pay you less money than we pay the United States in taxes. Tax evasion, fraud, jail. Bill Gates Microsoft, everybody, all the executives, everybody that okayed this. Bill Gates had to have okayed this back in the day. Bill Gates had to have okayed this back in the day. Here, let's make a little fucking shell company, and all they do is burn fucking Windows onto CDs, but we're going to sit there and say that this company is worth billions and profits billions and billions and billions because they have our intellectual property. So it's worth billions, and then we're going to funnel over all this money to back up the billions. This is a fucking this is a scheme. This is bullshit. This shouldn't just be a fine. This should not just be, just give us the $29 billion and we'll give you fines and we'll check on a little interest. No. If they cannot pay almost $30 billion in fucking taxes and get slapped on the wrist, but Joe Schmo over there did pay $15,000 in taxes and now needs to go to jail for fucking 10 years, what the hell? $29 billion and nothing's wrong, but this dude over here did $15,000 and he's in prison. What are we doing here? And how is this not tax evasion? Read that shit. Illusionary in nature, serving no material economic purpose except to shift income. What the fuck? In other words, and then not only that, it's only made to shift income. You found the deal. They literally struck a deal with Puerto Rico. They went to another country and said, we're going to fucking tax evade, and you just need to go ahead and take on the taxes, and it'll be less than what we'll give them, but it's okay, just do it for us. And they're like, yeah, fuck yeah. That's a crime there. Here's a crime. Here's a crime. It's crimes everywhere. No. Yep. Bill Gates should be in prison. Unfucking believable. 29 billion. That's almost as much as we sent Ukraine in like a month. Jesus, dude. It's like, what? And if this isn't the definition of tax evasion, what is? What is? You charge tax evasion to some guy because he fucking forgot. Or he filled something out wrong. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not a fucking tax man, and I don't fucking do taxes every day, and I tried to do it on TurboTax to save money because you guys steal it all, and you're going to hit me with tax evasion because I filled something out wrong. But these motherfuckers willingly open a shell company with no purpose but to steal from you $30 billion worth, and they don't even care. Just charge them interest and let us get that money back, okay, please? Fuck off! 30 billion's more than some fucking countries have. What? How much could 30 billion have helped Maui? We didn't even give him, we gave him like fucking 30 million. We gave him like $30 million. These taxes could have went to Maui and helped rebuild everything, but instead they need everyone broke so they can steal their land, and they want to make their smart city. They can shove it up their ass. Like I said, they want to enslave all of us through debt. And that's why I keep showing everybody that exact fucking quote, and I'll never not show it. There's two ways to conquer and enslave a nation. One is by the sword, and the other is by debt. But both are just as deadly. People kill themselves all the time when they feel trapped, depressed. They can't get out of debt. They feel like they're letting everybody down. Well, I can go get life insurance money. Like I said, they're just as fucking deadly. They're just as painful. Fuck these guys, dude. Like I said, we're going to get into the politicians and the congressmen and all this shit and show you why I used to fucking hate. We'll get into that in a second. But I want to show you this quick because this is what is so fucked up. Why does a company need to steal 30 billion? What did they do? They made how much money off that 30 billion? They went and they invested it and stole, using this as collateral on how much more stuff that they could steal. Think about that. They don't care. Let me give you 30 billion back. Let me get you interest. Let me give you the fines. And we still profited 10, 15, 20 billion. Fuck off. Good day. Oh, well. Why does a company that is worth 2.43 trillion need to steal 30 billion in taxes? Why? I'm from Minnesota, man. Like, nobody... I wish everybody was as nice as they were in fucking Minnesota, dude. Like, no one here seems greedy. Nobody here, like, yeah, we're angry when we see what's going on here, but, like, we open the doors for people. Like I said, I've never cheated on anybody in my life. I never would. But you go other places, it's like, that's no big deal. Like, yeah, that's a huge deal to us. I don't get why people, where the hell's greed ever end? Where does greed ever end? Look at this fucking number. And you needed to steal 30 billion willingly? And at this point, we're talking 90, 70, who knows what? This is just one aspect they were stealing on. This is one way they were stealing. How many other Ponzi schemes do they have? How many other ways are they stealing out of taxes? This was just one way. If one company has already stolen $100 billion, how many of the top 100 companies stolen? Trillions? You have people stealing trillions in back taxes in literal tax evasion schemes. This is a tax evasion scheme to its core. That's all it was. This was 100% a tax evasion scheme. And nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. And a 2.4 trillion. What are you doing? Pathetic. And what are they going to do? Americans. Fucking Americans owe $688 billion in unpaid taxes. We got to come after you guys. Look, this justifies it. We got to go after you guys. Almost $700 billion, you guys. Think of what we could do with $700 billion. What? You can give it to Ukraine and fucking all these other countries and then fuck us up the ass? And then maybe give us a 7, like you did Maui? Here, 700 per household, we're gonna tax it. An average household in Maui is fucking 4 people. 4 people. You gave us $700 dollars to 4 people. What's that, like 170 a fucking person? Woo! Go government. Here's $170 people, and we're gonna tax you on it. Fuck off. Our entire government is a fucking gong show. And this right here is how they're going to justify them coming after us instead of them. 700 billion. Holy fuck. We got to get after that 700 billion, you guys. And then we're going to charge you guys tax evasions. Meanwhile, these tax evasion schemes get slap on the wrist. Fucking gong show. Now, I saw this and I just wanted to bring this to people's attention because this is fucking ridiculous. Crypto was meant to get away from the government who can't stop spending, who can't stop doing this, who can't stop devaluing the dollar, who can't stop doing this type of bullshit. Stealing. Well, what happens over here with FTX? These motherfuckers were controlling the price of Bitcoin. We all knew they were doing it in some ways, but one of the ways I found, I'll get to the other ones here later, they were selling their customers' securities. They were selling people's securities and having IOUs in their accounts. What? We have to keep Bitcoin under fucking this. Let's just sell these guys fucking the shit and not tell them. They'll have this money. We'll owe them. But when we go under, and I'm going to show you guys the fucked up shit that these guys... Before I get going, I'm going to skip ahead for a second. This is the most disgusting thing. One of the most disgusting things I'm not going to say the most. This is one of the absolute most fucked up things in America. And I want you guys to understand what these guys do. These drug companies, pharmaceuticals, these prescriptions, they get you addicted to painkillers. Okay? They get you addicted to opioids, as we know. They willingly know I'm going to put too much in to where you will get addicted. There's a higher chance you get addicted because it's a higher concentration than what I should put in there. But I got loopholes to get around it, so mine's better. I paid the doctor more. The doctor will now push mine instead of other generic brands when I write the prescription. Most people, when they go there, when they get their little note from their doctor, they walk down, they say, hey, doctor says I need this. Most people don't say, can I get the generic brand of this? They will just hand them, the pharmacist, the doctor's prescription right then and there. And you just go with what he prescribes. Now, he's going to go with whatever he got paid the most by. These pharmaceutical companies and doctors will willingly push these drugs, knowing they will get people addicted, and they know they will profit billions of dollars from these prescriptions. Because what is the most profitable thing in America? The most profitable thing in America is the health industry. They have a $1.50 bag of IV, but they'll charge you $90. It has like $1 million markup. You show me one other business has $1 million markup. Why do they not cure us? Why has technology advanced so much, but cures haven't? Simple. Because if I cure you, I can't make money off you. And this is the problem, and this is the people that are in charge in every aspect. they don't look at you as humans anymore. They look at you as people that are votes. They look at you as weapons to gain power. They look at you as means to steal, means to make money. And if you call them out, if you prove it, they will silence you. And they pay the media, they pay the right people. You have mafia members that I have showed you with proof, with articles, with lawsuits. Mafia has more. People think the mafia went away. It didn't go away. It literally went into banking. And I proved it. And I've shown you in plenty of videos, plenty of articles. Mafia members that were true mafia suddenly were working in fucking banking. Suddenly their entire family is now in banking sectors. They're now heads of these banks. They're now executives in banks. They're now getting into regulation. People that were in mafias. What in the fuck? It's everywhere. They didn't fuck. Mafia is just like everyone else. They're people that are fucked up, but they'll evolve. Criminals evolve. They get smarter. They go, how are we getting caught? Right here. Well, let's just prevent that way of getting caught. Let's just start bribing the right people. Let's start putting the right people in power. Now, guess what? Money. They have all the money. Now they can easily influence their way because you now have dark money out there. They can easily now get their people in there. Easily. Because they can put hundreds of millions into whoever they want to be in whatever fucking office they have. Oh, these guys, look at this guy in this commercial. He's kissing a dog. And then I show you that fucking pile of shit I want to fucking fry myself. That fucking loser, dude. He's out here frying kill. He has this federal agent. This guy who's huge up in the feds. Runs a dog ring. He's out there fucking frying dogs when they lose with jumper cables. What a fucking piece of shit, dude. You got these fucking losers in charge of the country, dude. It is so fucked up. But then they'll be in a commercial kissing a dog. Oh, I love dogs. Look, it's good for votes. Go fuck yourself, dude. Shit's so fucking ridiculous. And then you sit there and I tell people, get out of these banks. They're literally fucking your credit score up and they're not reporting on it. But your credit score's dropping and you don't know why. It's because they're fucking making fake accounts. They're overcharging you. They're overdrafting you. This was released 2 days ago. Financial institutions got charged. They need to repay $140 million in customer fees. Look what they were doing. Once again, they were cooking the books, millions in fake revenue. These smaller banks were cooking the books. These bigger banks were cooking the books with fake fucking fees. And look what they were doing. They would say, we're going to charge you a fee, right? And then they write that fee on a letter, a hand paper letter. They don't send you an email. It's letter only. They make the letter. They have proof in their system that they created the letter. They never send you the letter. This is what happened. They never send you the letter for your overdraft fees. So now they have proof. Hey, we made all these letters and we sent them out. Look at monthly fees for paper bank statements that never attempted to be delivered. Oh, crazy. So they were charging people funds and fake things, making fake accounts, fake overdraft fees, said that they sent letters out on these. Nobody ever received the letters. And then they go, what? We sent out that people were doing these. No, you didn't. And you're faking revenue off it. Again, cooking the books. Look at how many different ways I'm showing you these companies are faking numbers. It's not just in fucking the stock market. It's in every fathomable fucking way. In every way. And then every time they're doing this, faking this, stealing this, guess what they're doing? Tax evasion, tax fraud. And they never get charged on it. Isn't that funny? Now today, there was 2 rules proposed and passed by the s.e.c. Now, I really want to get into this for a second. We, the investor, I sit there and I push these guys every day. They have meetings with Gary Gensler. Yes, I understand people are upset that they don't ask Gary the hard questions. They don't attack them. They don't do the things you guys want them to do. But what they do is actually have a voice. They have intelligence when they go to them and they say, these rules are fucked up. We need to make change. And at least they're making change. And today they made some change. And they got rules passed, changed that we looked at. We ended up they sent a letter. This is the letter here. It talks about different things and rules that they need to fix. On with the 13 Fs, with short reporting. We needed to get more transparency, and today it passed 3-2. We're going to get into the two piles of shits that voted no, because they both need to go out of the s.e.c. We need to start to be able to show these guys, these fucking people are not for retail. They're here. It's just like politicians. You don't work for us. We don't work for you. You work for us. If you want votes, you need to get them by doing the things you're going to say, or we need to start voting people out. People sit there and they know the corruption. I'm sure Wales, everybody, they show you the names. These are the corrupt politicians. And you still have people say, I don't care, they're Democrat. Fucking get over it. He's a fucking criminal. I don't care if he's Democrat. I don't care if you don't like Republicans. Get over it. They're all fucking criminals. They're all fucking criminals and they all gotta go. We need more independent people going into politicians. Because if you get a lot of good actual people in at once, it's a lot harder to suddenly kill off all these people. We need more transparency. We need to ban dark money. We need to get the people in there that will approve bans of dark money. Super PACs need to be eliminated. Go back to the PACs of $5,000 limits, and suddenly nobody has any power in political elections anymore. Nobody has any more say. You can only give $5,000 at a time. No, suddenly it's not now it's suddenly not the politicians these fucking corporations want. It's back to who people want. If I wanted to go to be president, I need to raise $100,000 just to even get considered. How in the hell can an average person, how in the hell can a person that would be for the people, an independent person, number one, even raise $100,000 to begin with? How many of you, I mean, that's the thing. How many people are going to go, yes, we will willingly give this guy $100,000 and risk the chance that he loses? Because that means us hardworking people need to give up thousands of dollars that we're relying on. Even to get a guy even potentially nominated, even to get him even considered elected or on a ballot or anything to even be anything. You need $100,000 raised. I can't have $100,000. That makes no. I need to raise $100,000. How can you get somebody? That's what I'm saying. These elections, they sit there. Oh, you're free. It's a democracy. No, it's not a democracy. It's you putting in two candidates that are corrupt. It's not people that are for the people. It's not like we're out here electing people. Again, you already put $100,000 restriction on it. I could campaign as much as I wanted. There's no way I could raise $100,000. There is no fucking way. And even if I raised $100,000, that means I have $100,000 up against their $250 million. What are the chances my $100,000 are going to beat their $250 million? That's my point. The shit they say, oh, we're a free country. It's a democracy. No. The problem is that you have a two-party fucking system. Even if you had a third, oh my God, that's going to solve it. They only have to bribe one more fucking candidate a year. That's hard for them. Oh wait, they steal billions by the day and only bribe these guys with $30 million. And guess what? They'll do anything for $30 million. They'll give up their morals and they'll do anything. They'll fuck humanity. They don't give a fuck. It's insanity. It's literally insanity. But this is why I push We the Investor, because at least they actually got something done. They got some new rules changed, passed, and that's great. That's some steps forward. Yes, it takes forever, but we know everything does. But, I mean, this is more than any of us have done since. So everybody that wants to attack them and go, oh, they need to do more. Trust me, everybody wants them to do more. But they're also restricted, limited. If you do this, don't do this, then you can't do this. And they're working with what they can work with. And I'm going to show you something here because I don't know if you guys watched the s.e.c. meeting today. If you guys watch the SEC meeting today, you can tell there are two people that are corrupt as shit on the SEC. And you can also tell, I truly believe Gary is trying to make some changes. I do believe Gary wants to help. I do believe he's looking over here going, this is fucking insanity. This is corruption beyond its fucking core. We are using rules that are 12 years old, 12, 13 years old, 14-year-old fucking your old Dodd-Frank shit, and it's barely been updated. And nobody, none of our predecessors ever even did anything to worry about it. Today, Gary helped pass these laws. He was 100% for it. It gives more transparency, and these guys do need to do more reporting now on short positions. Now, of course, what ends up happening is if you read here too, and if you watch, and they continuously talked about this throughout the meeting, these fucking congressmen limit what the SEC can do. These congressmen will literally tell them, you can adopt this part of the rules, but we won't allow you to do this. We won't allow you to do this. You can't do this. You need permission to do this. So even if the SEC wants to and adopts proposals, they still need to fucking go ahead and basically let the congressman say yes or no. Or yes, you can do this, but you can't do this. You need to change it to this. So like always, shit gets fucking watered down. So the rules that he proposed and everything he wanted to go through, some of it went through. It's still a step in the right direction. But of course, crime always fucking wins. So they watered it down, of course, because congressmen fucking were like, nope, we're not allowing you to do the full effects of this law because that'd be too much transparency. Now, I want you guys to remember, how many people did we show you in Congress voted against transparency laws earlier? Tons of them. And we showed you every one of their fucking names. And now these are the same people trying to fire Gary Gensler. And as you can see, Gary's trying to add more and more transparency, along with adding the auction, which would destroy payment for order flow, because he thinks that they should be obsolete. Well, of course, they're trying to get him out of office for that reason. Now what you have is, sorry, my wife's texting me. Why is Congress doing this? Why is Congress helping? Let's just pull up Nancy Pelosi. Insider trading for information. I'm going to pay you in bribes and dark money, and then when you're not doing political campaigns, I'm going to slip you insider information. I'm going to let you do insider information because even if you caught, it's legal. Who cares? This is my fucking point. You have people like this, the congressmen, the real people that are in charge that turn $193,000 salary into $290 million through lobbying and trades and speeches by criminals. Insider information from criminals. So why do they restrict regulators even if they do want, even if I became head of SEC, let's say we kicked Gary out. I was there. We moved. We got 3 other guys there that were all 100% apes, the best people you could ever think of. We were doing all these rules. We wanted to change all this shit. Congress would still be able to fucking change it, mix this up, slam it down, do all this shit. And that's the problem. You have the corrupt fucks that are getting paid this way that will never truly let full regulation rules, even when we make little steps, they will water them down a little bit more, just to make sure that what should stop it won't. And if you look at one of the things here, what do I always talk about? The CAT system. They are deathly afraid of that CAT system. The CAT system finishes it all. You now track the full life cycle of every trade, every transaction, and they all have broker IDs, customer IDs. The SEC now is able to track everything. The second that this is fully live, fully funded, because what they did is defunded it, that they delayed it to go fully live because now they don't want to pay for it and they have to set up the payments and the fees and who's going to do all this and that. Delays on anything that could fuck us. They said these criminals are fucking just, Nancy Pelosi's a fucking complete bitch, dude. What a fucking piece of shit. This fucking guy voted no. This fucking guy goes, no, because that might put the information out there and cyber hackers might be able to get it. This guy's paid off. He's a criminal. He's a piece of shit. He is a fucking loser. He needs to be fired from the SEC. The only other person that said no is Hester Pierce. Enough said. This guy was fighting it tooth and nail. But the business's information. Fuck off, Mark. You're a loser. You're a fucking piece of shit, dude. You are a criminal just like them all. You're a regulator that shouldn't be a regulator because you take fucking bribes. Stick it up your fucking ass, dude. Trash. Fucking trash, dude. Now, I always like to go over the mortgages because, they fluctuate all the time. So right now, if you look at Minnesota, we always go at about 400K. The average house of the loan, we average about 700 to 719 because the average credit score is 714. Then you come down to 5%, and you are still at 8.5% on a loan right now. That is in fucking sanity. Prices have still went up. Now, one thing I want people to show everybody, which is pretty interesting right now, is if you look at this, like I've shown everybody, it's going to get harder and harder and harder in the next couple of months. Nothing's going to change on this. It's just going to get bigger and bigger until this thing finally bursts. The feds themselves can't even do QE. They can't get rid of their mortgage-backed securities, which is their number one asset, because they'll take too much of a hits on it. So it's so hard for the feds to even do that. So we're in a very bad place. The bubbles are just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Only 1% of U.S. homes changed ownership this year, the lowest share in at least a decade. That is because nobody in their right mind is going to sell these houses. And this is the problem. The people that would have been able to sell these houses at the rate to bring down the prices cannot, because they're locked in at 2%. They cannot go afford to buy a new house at 8.5%. So if they did, they would need to ask for an additional $180,000 on their asking price, which means the lower prices can't come down. Now they're above fucking old houses. And this is a problem. You have old houses that are going, around the same prices of brand new ones. The housing market right now is in complete fucking shambles. And I don't know what's going to happen here. Because I showed you guys a couple weeks ago, you finally had retail investors, retail companies are slowing down on buying these mortgages. They're realizing a bubble has to come. It's not going to be as profitable, and they're not able to buy these homes and sell them. On top of that, they're holding a lot of assets that they, would use to buy more homes. Retail investors. Could you imagine being a retailer right now? Could you imagine being in retail right now? You probably are. I guarantee you have a second job. There's no way you're able to get by right now. Realtors right now, I cannot even imagine how much stress you're going through. On top of that, homes I showed you last week are the most unaffordable they've ever been. If you look now, new mortgages are now 42% of the U.S. median household income. Think about that. 42%. That is 10% higher than in 2008. A lot of people go, oh, it's not 2008 because a lot of people aren't taking out a whole bunch of home loans. They can't afford to take out a whole bunch of home loans. They can't even afford to take out the one they're taking out now. And I showed you last week, defaults have been rising and rising and rising. They're also rising in commercial. Banks are taking losses. They have over $558 billion in unrealized losses. Banks are, we're going to get into that in a minute. Banks are fucking hurting. Banks are scared. You have middle banks they know they're going under, and there's nothing they're going to be able to do to stop this. In the next couple months in the United States, shit is going to get insane. I'm going to show you guys the risk of credit unions, small banks, medium banks, and I'm going to show you guys the risk of big banks as well. Now, one of the main problems, again, our government can't stop fucking spending. If you look at the deficit now, it's over $300 billion compared to 2022. That's a huge fucking increase. I've been showing you guys, the United States is spending more than we're making, and it's at a large rate. On top of that, we already added another, 2.5 trillion since we raised the debt ceiling. That is fucking insanity. We're going at the rate of every 48 days, or 45 days, we're putting over 1 trillion more on the debt. That's fucking insanity. That means these treasury rates, everything's are going to keep skyrocketing. Banks are getting more pressure. The government is spending more than they're getting even on their treasury. they're going to be in a lot of trouble. Next year when this shit needs to renew at 7.6 trillion, I can't even tell you what's going to happen. It's going to be fucking insanity. Now, one of the things, because I kind of got off course there. Sorry, I always do that. What I was talking about was the pharmaceutical things. What I was talking about before I got way off course here. Pharmaceutical companies, what they'll do is they'll get you addicted to their medicine, knowing that you're going to get addicted, or there's a very high chance because it's oversubscribed. Well, what they're going to do then is you're going to keep coming back, and eventually you're going to need to go into programs, and they don't even give a shit. That's your problem, is what they say. Well, what ends up happening is these guys get caught. And once they get caught, they get sued. And they'll have to pay, hundreds of millions to these people. But then what they'll have to do is pay billions in treatments, okay? Well, these guys all need to get off this addiction. We need to pay for their addiction centers. It's going to cost you guys billion. Well, what these guys will do then is they'll say, okay, we'll go to special court. And then what I'm going to do is claim bankruptcy. And what that will do is get them out of the $1 billion payment. They won't need to pay that anymore. So what these drug companies will do is they'll sit there and so if you look over here, this is a perfect example. They filed bankruptcy, okay? Twice in 3 years. They did this already. They got sued. They didn't learn their lesson. They had to pay all this shit. And they filed bankruptcy. And this is why I say these special bankruptcies are fucking bullshit. You should not be able to file bankruptcy and keep assets, any of them. So then they started back. They didn't learn their lesson. They kept doing the same fucking bullshit. Got a ton of money. Well, guess what? Sued again. You're going to have to pay $1 billion for these guys' fucking drug payments as well. Nope. They go ahead and they get a special fucking bankruptcy, and now they get out of it. They don't have to pay it now. They don't have to pay for these guys' treatments anymore. It's a crock of fucking shit. One of the biggest things going on here, was you had another company called Purdue Pharma. I don't know if you guys have heard about them, but they were doing the same exact shit. But they were going to get sued, and they were going to be held liable for $6 billion worth. And they were going to get away with it. But then they got away with it from a court, and the Supreme Court's like, nah, fuck that. You're not going to get away with that. And they blocked him. And now they're finally being held liable. But this is what these guys have been doing. Let me get you addicted to my drugs. If I ever get caught, we'll pay for their we'll get sued. Oh, well, we'll have to pay some money, but we're already billionaires. We don't care. If we have to pay for their treatment, I don't want to do that, because if I start my company back up, or if we change names, there's a chance they might come back to me. So what we will do is we'll do bankruptcy, keep assets, start it up again, and all those people can go fuck themselves. Like I said, by the billions. How much shit these guys are allowed to get away with is just truly fucking disgusting. Unbelievable. I don't know, the deficit. Now, I want to go over the risks of the banks, and then after that, I should be done. Then we can go over whatever you guys want to go over. Now, I was telling you guys about all of these banks, these middle banks. You're going to have all these people leaving deposits. You're going to have all these people going to money market funds. You're going to have them going to treasury bonds. You're going to have them leaving their deposits, leaving the banks, because the interest rate over there is not worth it. When you can get 0.15% at a bank, or you can get 5.5, which will soon be 6, which will soon be 7 over in these money market funds and treasury notes, you're not going to sit there. Now, one of these things I wanted to show people is I talked about these federal home loan programs. This is the thing that Silvergate was living off. Silvergate took a federal home loan, and it was by the billions, and they gave out 4 loans to try to justify taking out billions. They needed that money for collateral. They ended up collapsing once this was discovered. So a lot of these people are taking these out. What you have are a lot of smaller banks. You also have credit unions that are taking these out as well. If you guys look down here, you have life insurance companies. Credit unions actually have taken out a total of $85 billion. Now, a lot of people would think that's a crazy amount, but that's not an insane amount of money when you truly look at the big picture. Number one, I want people to understand the risk on what a credit loan, a credit loan can go under compared to a big bank. Now, the way these go under is usually they do a lot of car loans. They do a lot of sometimes they'll do a lot of bad car loans. Well, back in the day when 4 years ago when credit was available and they're able to freely give it out like crazy, they gave out bad car loans. They'd give out maybe bad credit cards to people because they'd always give people better rates, better cards. They're supposed to be there for their members. There's a better chance you can get these things. They help people out. They're not big banks. They try and help their members. So sometimes what they'll do is you take losses on those bad loans. So that is the main way that these credit unions will lose money is through these bad loans. They don't go through derivatives contracts. They're not out there doing all this fucking stealing where they're paying millions in fines like the other ones. They're not, over leveraged in the derivatives position. They also are backed by a different insurance company, not the FDIC, the NCAA. Well, what this means is if you look at these charts, I was telling you guys a lot of these banks were living off these loans. Well, these loans are only 1-year terms, and they're going to have to be repaid back. Now, if you guys look at these show you the terms, when they're due, when they're renewed. You have hundreds of billions due in renewals in the next 8 months. I don't know how they're going to pay these fucking back. I really don't. These guys are living off these fucking credit cards. When you look at their percentage of assets, I showed you guys this. I've showed you guys, if you guys, I can go ahead and pull up the link again. I showed you guys this chart many times. If you look here, 3 out of the top 6 banks have already went under. They've collapsed. Because what they were doing is living off these home loans. And that's what I've told everybody. If you're in Charles Schwab, get the fuck out of there. Very risky right now. USAA, that's a huge percent of their equity is in these loans. If they're not spending them right, if they didn't hold on to these right, this is very, 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 very risky for these banks. Now, there's 235 billion of these coming due pretty soon as well. I'm trying to find the credit union one. These guys so me and this guy got into it the other day because he was talking about credit unions and how he goes, I don't understand how people, here you go. He talks about credit unions, and me and him went into it. He talks about, I don't get how people think credit unions are safe. And one of the things, me and him, he ended up agreeing with me in the end of this thing, because one of the things that I want people to understand, credit unions are for teachers, hard workers, blue collar people. We don't have over 250,000 sitting in our bank accounts. We don't. We're not at risk of a bank run in any way, shape, or form, like SVB, like these other banks, because these normal banks, these middle banks, these bigger banks, they have tons of people with millions in their accounts. They could go ahead and leave at any minute. And those are the people that are leaving for the treasury bonds. They're leaving for the money market funds. Those are the people that are leaving. I showed you guys $1 trillion already left the bank deposits and went to money market funds and treasury notes. Those guys are the people that are leaving. So there's zero risk of a bank run on a credit union. There's the risk of their deposits leaving are very, very few. And if they do, they leave by the thousands, not by the millions. That's a big difference. Now, if you're a middle bank and somebody leaves by the millions, that's a huge deal. If you don't believe me, ask SVB. They had 4 people leave that brought out like 100 million and it collapsed the fucking bank. You cannot have that. You don't have that in credit unions. On top of that, there's going to be collapses through the middle banks, through the bigger banks, through the smaller banks. The FDIC is going to already be fucking flooded over there. They're not going to be able to insure all these deposits. They already couldn't before. They had to go ahead and ask all these banks to refill the FDIC so they could go ahead and continuously pay out. Well, what happens if another bank goes under? They don't have the funds. What happens if 10 banks go under, 15, 30, 20 banks go under? They don't have that money. You don't have to worry about that in a credit union. You're still safe. You don't have the FDIC. You don't worry about the other banks collapsing. Your money is just fine right there. But the only way that these credit unions are going to collapse is if they take out these massive loans, do stupid shit with it. They they have tons of bad fucking car loans, and they have tons of bad credit cards. But this is the thing with these credit unions. They also have assets. They also have things where they can they buy bonds. They have assets where they can sell them and cover those bad loans. So it's not like they're sitting there running out like, oh man, we can't hedge our positions on these bad loans. They still do that. They still have collateral and assets. So they're not underwater. They're not over leveraged 100 to 1 like these other people are, these other banks, the Jpmorgans, Goldman Sachs. They're not in any derivatives is the market, any of that shit. They're not involved in that crap. On top of that, they have their own members running the bank. So they want to do what's best in their own interest because they are in the bank themselves. It's not like these corrupt pieces of shit that basically have a mafia member running the bank. So, credit unions are still, and he even agreed at the end, yeah, you're right, they still have stickier things, stickier deposits, he said. I mean, that's the thing. They're still 1,000% safer. He agreed they're not over-leveraged in derivatives. He agreed they don't suddenly take fines. They're not adding corruption all the time. Eventually, those numbers are going to come up and catch up to them. So, fuck them. He said, guys, just be patient. Everything is coming down. They continuously are borrowing using credit cards. You cannot keep sweeping things under a rug. Yes, you can go from one spot to another, to another, to another, but all you're doing is making another bubble, another bubble, another bubble. And eventually, they're going to pop. And when one pops, the ripple effect is going to hit everything. This is why everybody's talking about a Great Depression. Numbers are past the Great Depression in tons of sectors. And when it hits, it's going to hit harder than the Great Depression. Like I showed you, they're sitting there lying. We're not in a recession because look at jobs. Yeah, and you're also not showing that more people are working 2 jobs than ever in the history of the United States. So the reason jobs aren't down is because more workers are working 2 of them. That's it. That's the only reason why your jobs aren't down. That's it. Fuck them, dude. Like I said, they sit there and they fake every fucking number and they spin it to make everything seem peachy while they fucked you in the ass. It's just like debt. Instead of just like conquering a nation. Instead of using the sword where you can see it in front of you, and then I say that's cruel, what I'm going to do is stab you in the back through debt and say, well, you didn't see it coming. It's not as dirty. It's not as disgusting. Fuck off. Yeah, it is. All right, anybody want to have any questions? Anybody want to know anything in the chat? Anything? Anyone want me to talk about it all? Otherwise, I'm going to get going here. Tomorrow, so everybody knows, I'm going to go live with Peter Hahn. I'm trying to get a hold of Dave Lauer again and see if he wants to come with us. I would love to have Dave Lauer. I would love to have Peter Hahn on. Get their opinions on a lot of things. But like I said, guys, they're attacking AMC right now. They dropped it through options because they had to hit max fucking pain. They had to hit max pain. They could not afford it to be at $11. People execute their options contract on top of having the best opening weekend since COVID. Taylor Swift, all that $140 million in pre-sales did not hit the box office yet. That will hit tomorrow on top of her opening weekend numbers. On top of the rest of the box office, we could easily have a $405 million box office this weekend, which would put us at $550 million. We could easily do $1 billion, but everybody needs to keep going seeing movies as much as you can. Like I said, Halloween's a very good time for these scary movies. We should have a great Halloween weekend. Taylor Swift should be playing then. Nothing but good news for AMC. Like I said, on all that merchandise, guys. You're seeing everybody, like I said, buying 5, 6 of these merchandise at a time. AMC on all these theaters gets distribution rights on all that merchandise as well. So I really do expect AMC to be very profitable this quarter. All right, my wife's called me like 4 times here. I'm going to get going, guys, but thank you for listening. I'll see everybody tomorrow. Have a good night.